The DC Comics solicitations for April 2022 have been out for over a week now, so I'm definitely a little bit late on this one, but I'm finally getting to it, and there's definitely a few things to talk about. There's actually so much to talk about in here that I wanted to hit that I'm going to have to do a special video tomorrow, but today we're going to talk about the solicitations, we're going to talk about the numbers, and we're going to talk about the Arrowverse coming to DC Comics. Can the Arrowverse from CW save DC Comics? Now, the Arrowverse was certainly more popular about 3 or 4 years ago when Arrow was actually still going on. Flash was still pretty good. Legends of Tomorrow hadn't failed, and we didn't have Batwoman. Ugh, is that the worst show on television? Probably not anymore now that we have Naomi. The only real decent show that people like pretty much from the Arrowverse anymore is Superman and Lois. And that is but one property. There's so much bad stuff on the Arrowverse. Why they're bringing it to comic books, I'm not really sure. It's certainly not for you and I. I think for the most part, comic book fans have roundly rejected the Arrowverse and mock it and ridicule it because it sucks so bad and there's such terrible versions of the characters from DC Comics. Perhaps there are viewers of the Arrowverse that don't read comics. If they can get those people in to read this miniseries, perhaps they could grow the audience. But who are we kidding? Do we think DC Comics and Warner Media and the CW are going to be running ads for this stupid comic event, this crossover 5-issue, whatever it is? I think it's actually 6 issues on the CW while the shows are going on, where you could maybe divert the eyes of the people actually like this garbage over to the comic books, because, hey, DC Comics has plenty of garbage versions of their characters if this is what you're into. I don't think that's in the budget. I don't think they have the imagination to do that, and I certainly don't think that they're going to spend the money to do it. So this is just an enormous waste of time, at least in my opinion. Now, here's the information that we do have. The CW superheroes from the Arrowverse will be getting their own comic series called Earth Prime. These in-continuity stories are being developed by the producers and writers of the show themselves. In what continuity? The Arrowverse continuity is what I'm assuming. It certainly is hell ain't in DC continuity. They don't have continuity anymore. We got the Omniverse. You know what the good thing about the Omniverse is? Because everything happens now. So this stupid miniseries that no one wanted, it's going to have terrible versions of the characters, will now be part of DC Comics continuity. Congratulations, DC. The Omniverse just is the gift that keeps God giving. Now, this is set to be released over the course of 3 months with 6 issues total. The first 5 issues will feature stories that focus on individual shows, while the 6th will have the previous issues crossover with each other for the finale. Ooh, sounds mesmerizing. The issues will also each contain a backup story developed by one of the show's cast members. The first will be written by Batwoman's Cameron Johnson, who played Luke Fox in the occasional Batwing. Who's that supposed to draw in? Cameron Johnson, the guy that plays Batwing? Luke Cage or Luke Fox is gonna write a backup story. Like, is that bringing 3 people in to pay for this comic book? I don't know. I guess maybe 3 new customers would be more growth than DC's experience in the last year. They've certainly had a lot of contraction. They're having to sell the same comic books to people multiple times. The amount of Batman's ridiculous. I'm all for new ideas. I really am. And if they did a marketing strategy to go along with this Arrowverse crossover, it would actually be pretty smart. But there's no way they're going to do it. They're just going to think that people are like, well, it's the Arrowverse. You know, the comic fans like that. No, we don't. I had to stop watching Flash after season 3. It got so repetitive and stupid. Batwoman never had any fans. Naomi sounds like it's worse. The only decent show that was kind of left was Arrow, I guess, and that's been gone for a while now. They're making comic books for a completely different audience that they won't even tell that the comic book is there. But it'll be taking up a valuable real estate in the comic book shop, right? The only good thing is I guess this means that 6 less Batman comics. Although there's going to be Batwoman, so it will be Batman related. Whatever. Here's the numbers of the total of 50 comic books being released by DC Comics in April 2022. 27 feature Batman in a starring role or as a team member or a Batman family character for 54% of all new DC Comics. And they're doing some other stuff, like they're throwing Batman and Aquaman and stuff because they can't sell those at all. And of DC Comics, 50 new comics, 6 are new number ones. That's only 12%, so that's a damn good number. That's a lot of fucking Batman. It's ridiculous. Obviously, we just talked about Batman fatigue with Josh on the channel. It's not getting better. Let's just put it that way. Now let's get in to the solicitations themselves. I will say this. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video. If you haven't cracked a Snapple or perhaps, one of those, what is it, a naughty iced tea or Mike's Hard Lemonade or something like that. Maybe back in the day, you crack a Zima and you put a Jolly Rancher in there and have a good time. Do that, because we're going to be here for a little while talking about here's spoilers. It's disappointing. There are some diamonds in the rough, and I will see if I can figure out a lock of the month. We'll see. There's got to be something there, right? Shocking that the very first comic book in the solicitation is Batman, and it's part of the event. So we've got multiple issues stacking up right on issue number 1, Batman 122. No issues with Joshua Williamson. We are getting art by Howard Porter, who I do like from his Flash run. I haven't liked him as much on Deathstroke. That is neither here nor there. This is the second part of Shadow War, which is a crossover between Robin, Batman, and Deathstroke Inc. And apparently Ra's al Ghul, what did I say, Ra's al Ghul is dead, and Talia is out for revenge. Batman is on the case to find Deathstroke before Talia's elite killers do. Oh my goodness. I will say this, and I got to give them credit. They are putting some badass covers on this event. Look at this. We got Talia and fucking ninjas about to jump Batman from behind and kick his ass as Ra's al Ghul is dead. That is a damn good cover. Deathstroke Inc. number 8 is the third part. Once again, Joshua Williamson, this time with Paolo Pentalana. Deathstroke and Respawn are on the run. So hopefully we'll get some information about Respawn, who that character is. We know there's something important about him. They're definitely associated with Deathstroke, but there is an air of mystery out there about Respawn. This is the least interesting cover, and this one's better than most at DC Comics. We got Robin number 13, Shadow War part 14, or part 4. Might as well be part 14. Joshua Williamson, Roger Cruz. Roger Cruz is kicking ass and taking names on Robin, so this art is going to be very good. And once again, Robin and Ravager caught up with Deathstroke. Okay, yeah, it's all that. Ra's al Ghul's dead. Now look at that cover. Now that looks good. We've got several fights going on. We got Deathstroke, Robin, Respawn. We got Rose. We got Batman. Now that is a cover. Batman Beyond, Neo year number 1. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing. These guys kind of, they suck. They got one good comic book out of King the Conqueror. This comic book frustrates me. This is the problem when you have so much Batman. Guess what else is coming out around this time? I don't believe this is the debut month, but it'll be on issue number 2, Batman Beyond the White Knight. They're siphoning anything special, even about the comic books that should be selling and that are cool. No one asked for a Colin Kelly, Jackson Lanzing, anything, let alone a Batman fucking Beyond comic. 6-issue miniseries. Hey, listen, if you're a Terry McGinnis fan, I think it's great that you're getting comic book, but I think it's not going to overshadow Batman Beyond the White Knight. It'll be overshadowed by it, but it takes away the specialness of the story in the title. It makes it less cool, but DC Comics, unfortunately, knows nothing about cool these days. Batman Killing Time number 2, Tom King, David Marquez. Why do they keep saddling the best artists at DC Comics with Tom King and Brian Michael Bendis? I do not know. David Marquez may not be Clay Mann, but he ain't that far behind. He's actually pretty damn good. The epic continues and blood will spill. You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of Tom King Batman comics with this character right here. He should never, ever be allowed to write Selina Kyle again. He should never be able to put them together, even though supposedly they're going to be fighting in this one. Do you believe the lies that Tom King has told us? That he's going to not talk about Batman's trauma and make him look like the world's biggest pussy of a superhero so that he can elevate Selina Kyle Catwoman? I don't believe him. Detective Comics 1059, Mariko Tamaki, Nadia Shabas. I believe if you want to say somebody that's like a really bad anti-Semite, I believe if you go to Nadia Shabas' social media account, you will see some of the nastier things that you're going to read. But here in Detective Comics 1059, Mariko Tamaki, Ivan Rice, dating Mickey. Why are they right? Oh, man. I've got a whole video about this Cena Grace Gotham Girl Interrupted tomorrow. You guys are going to love that one. Look at this stupid cover. What is she wearing? Like a fucking garbage bag with a logo on it. God. Batman, Superman, World's Finest number 2. I love Dan Mora. I don't like Mark Waid. Mark Waid hasn't had a hit comic in a very long time. He's actually on my never buy list just because he's a cocksucker. He's just a fucking asshole. And he's been such a douchebag so many times that I will I won't check it out because I want to. Let's just put it that way. I might have to do this for the Batman, or This Week in Batman, but there's a good chance that there's going to be so many fucking Batman comics that I don't even have to sniff this motherfucker. Batman Beyond the White Knight #2. You know what? Screw it. Lock it up. This is my lock of the month. Sean Gordon Murphy, writer, artist. The humble beginnings of Terry McGinnis are revealed as Bruce Wayne becomes Gotham's most wanted man. With the GTO on the case, does Captain Dick Grayson have what it takes to bring down his old mentor? It's father versus son in the next chapter of this fan favorite series, plus an unexpected ally from Bruce's past could hold the key to saving the future. Harley Quinn is back and ready to knock you out. Yeah, this is going to be great. Look at that cover. Here we've got Flashpoint Beyond #0, Jeff Johns, Eduardo Risso. This is Jeff Johns isn't writing all these. This is a mini series. He's writing the 0 issue, but in the next one, he's going to be co-writers Jeremy Adams and Tim Sheridan. Tim Sheridan's on my never buy list because he's absolutely terrible. He's not a cocksucker like Mark Waid. He's just a really fucking bad writer. So do not be fooled by this. If you don't want to have to pay for a Tim Sheridan comic, don't jump in on this bad boy because you're going to do it because you know it's actually going to be good. $6. If you're going to charge me $6, give me Jeff Johns. That's what I got to say. Flashpoint Beyond. Are we all excited for the return to Flashpoint universe? It feels like Tom King ruined it. He's not the only one, but other people have as well. We shall see. It's Jeff Johns. It's almost must read, even though, there it is. Dun, 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 dun. Tim Sheridan. Are you kidding me? Why would you dilute the quality of Jeff Johns with Tim Sheridan? Jeremy Adams, perfectly fine, doing a great job on Flash. Tim Sheridan, ruining characters left and right, couldn't write a comic book to save his ass. And that's God's honest truth. I'm still going to read it because it's Jeff Johns, but I don't know why that motherfucker's there. I don't get it at all. 6-part miniseries, $5. Talked about it already. Flash, the fastest man alive. Kenny Porter, Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. See this here? You can't do a Flash book without fucking Batman anymore. That's how stupid DC Comics has become. The Flash, while Rebirth was going on, for the first 2 years, was selling over 40,000 copies an issue. Race the streets of Central City in the lead up to the hotly anticipated blockbuster, The Flash, after Barry's adventures with the Justice League, he determines to become a truly skilled and inspirational hero. Feels like he's already done that. As a new threat emerges in Central City of the name of the... Is that the Grinder? It's the Girder. Barry turns to Batman. Womp womp. Gotta have Batman. Sell comic book these days. Earth Prime #1. Natalie Abrams, Kelly Larson, and Cameron Johnson. Clayton Henry's a pretty decent artist. Who wants to pay for this comic book? The Batwoman from the CW universe, written by a bunch of people that don't know how to write comic books. Illustrated by a pretty good artist. I would say nobody that likes comic books wants to buy this. Okay, I'm sorry. 5 people. Ridiculous. Earth Prime #2, Adam Malinger, Jai Jameson, and Andrew Wong. Harmed by Tom Grummett, Norm Rapund. Clark Kent and Lois Lane. People might like this one at least. People actually like this series. Not a bad cover, I guess. Wonder Woman 786. Are we in the Trial of the Amazons? We are. Trial of the Amazons Part 5. The event that is destined to fail. It was destined to fail before they even launched it. Just because of the void of creative talent that they have put on any of these Wonder Woman titles, whether it be Wonder Woman Evolution. What else we got? Newbie and the Amazons. Wonder Girl as a great artist, but she's just not a great writer. But this is going to be awful. Tensions rise as the tribes compete with one another to determine the future of the Amazons. Wow, sounds invigorating. $5 for a Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad comic book. That's how much DC Comics thinks of you and I. They think we're stupid. Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl #2. This thing will be beautiful. It will not be great because Joelle Jones is not a great writer, unfortunately. Trial of the Amazons Part 6. Cassie Sandsmark, the other Wonder Girl, has arrived. Discovers the culprit and is shocked to learn it's one of their own. Whoa! Didn't see that coming. Who gives a fuck? Trial of the Amazons #2. Look at the creative team. Stephanie Williams, VIL, Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, Joelle Jones. It's an event book. That's a DC Comics event, right? Enough said. They've told you what they think not only of you and I, but what they think of Wonder Woman and the first big Wonder Woman event in a very long time. Complete disrespect for the character and the fans. $5 for the Stephanie Williams, VIL, Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, Joelle Jones written comic book. Get out of here. Justice League 75. Obviously, we know that the Justice League are going to be killed by Josh Williamson and Rafa Sandoval. Very great artist. Should look good. Josh Williamson is kicking ass and taking names of DC Comics. So I have no doubt that this will be a solid comic book. It feels like it is leading into this Crisis event that has been rumored for this year. $7. Every comic book is a card stock these days. Final issue. Well, let's be honest. It was dead when they put Brian Michael Bendis on the book. Speaking of Brian Michael Bendis, Naomi Season 2 with David F. Walker and Jamal Campbell. Maybe if they can get their CW people in to read the Arrowverse books, they can pick up this gem. To be completely honest, it'll probably be better than the TV show. Naomi's friend and mentor, D, is missing. D's nuts. Who cares? Sandman Universe Nightmare Country #1, James Tynion, the Sando Esterit. I guess James Tynion wasn't gone from DC Comics for long. You know, Joker stops this month and the new Sandman universe starts. I'm so burnt out on James Tynion's tireless writing tropes. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. It's far too decompressed. I'm not opting in for any more James Tynion books for the foreseeable future. I'll just keep reading Something Is Killed in the Children until I can't take that anymore. And then I will be out of the James Tynion business for good. And I'll be happier for it. Nice House on the Lake. Wonderfully illustrated comic by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. But what I just said about James Tynion stands. it's the same book he writes the same. He does the same stuff every single book that he writes. If you love it, I'm sorry, you and I disagree. Now we've gotten to the Superman part. And it sucks that DC Comics are doing nothing to promote Action Comics, which actually has a very good Superman story, obviously starring Clark Kent, whereas they're only talking about Superman, Son of Kal-El, which sucks ass. This book has been fantastic. It has been picking up momentum every single issue, especially since they landed on Warworld. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Ricardo Federici. I didn't think Ricardo Federici fit the character. Now, I maintain that. But we are seeing a different side of Clark Kent Superman on Warworld, and his art absolutely fits what's going on in the setting and this new, grittier, darker version of Clark Kent that essentially is a fighting slave. The story has been fantastic. The art, just Ricardo Federici. If you haven't read The Last God, same creative team, you're missing out. I believe there's 2 trades out there. You can also get there's a game book where you can play essentially Dungeons and Dragons with the same universe. It's just really good. If you're not reading this, I'm telling you right now, if you say DC can't make a good Superman comic, you're wrong. This is the one. Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target. Brandon Thomas wrote and click it. I don't think anybody is reading this comic book. Aquaman #3, Chuck Brown and Brandon Thomas. Max Rader on art. Once again, you can't have an Aquaman book without fucking Batman. It's like the only way they can sell the book anymore. While Jackson Hyde investigation and the Atlantean sleeper agents lead him in the dark and dangerous streets of Gotham City. Wah, wah. Everything's Batman, even Aquaman these days. Batgirls, #5, Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. Jorge Corona, what a waste of a great artist. The Batgirls and Tudor face off again, but this time at the creepy abandoned Arkham Asylum. I thought it was Arkham Towers now. I thought they tore that down. How about we get some continuity at DC? Would that be nice? I think it would be. Batman the Night, Chip Zdarsky, Carmine de something or other. It's a really good story so far. Don't think that it was necessary. It's a waste of Chip Zdarsky's immense talents, but it's Chip Zdarsky, so I'll stick with it, even though they're charging $5. Bruce Wayne's journey to become Batman continues in North Korea, where he learns the legendary fighting style of Master Kirigi. I worked in Korea for a long time, and I have some stuff that I could say right now, but I'll try not to get the channel demonetized. Batman Urban Legends #14. They think we're idiots. They don't care anymore. They've lowered the bar on writing Batman so far that Vita Ayala is headlining Batman Urban Legends and Mark Russell's the second writer. They got, Giuseppe Capicola, so they have they have a couple good artists in here, but you know what I'm saying. What a shit show this is. Absolute shit show. Batman Catwoman #11. Speaking of shit shows, Clayman is back. After barely escaping with one of her 9 lives, Selina arrives at a crossroads. She can either continue on the path of a criminal or take a chance at being a hero like Batman. God, just make it go away. Just go away already. Blue and Gold #8. I'm told this is good, but I have not been reading it. It looks like Booster Gold says it's a 5-star. Skeets gives it 10 out of 10. Very nice. Catwoman 42. That first issue was illustrated beautifully by Nico Leo. This should be like a star-making kind of run, potentially. But the writing from Tini Howard on that first issue was so atrocious. I would be shocked if half the people that decided to stick around for the Tini Howard Catwoman run didn't quit after the first issue. I couldn't finish the story. It was so bad. It's worse than I thought it could be. And I knew it could be really bad because I've read so much Tini Howard at X-Men. Stick around at your own risk. It's going to be awful. Dark Knights of Steel #6. Yasmin Butri, Tom Taylor. I'm enjoying it, but there's some things wrong with it. He forgot to adjust the dialogue and stuff like that. But if you want to see a fantasy version of DC Comics with all your favorite heroes doing weird stuff, it's a good comic book. Unfortunately, it's Tom Taylor. I don't like supporting Tom Taylor. Makes me feel dirty. Future State Gotham #12. Dennis Culver. Yadis Miliadis. The worst illustrated comic book in all of DC. And they have a comic book illustrated by Riley Rossmo. That's how bad I think this is. Speaking of Riley Rossmo, Harley Quinn 14, Stephanie Phillips, Riley Rossmo. This thing is atrocious. It's not just the writing by Stephanie Phillips, which is awful. It's the art that from Riley Rossmo that throws it over the top to being, it's beyond unreadable. It's unfathomable. That's what I'm going to say. Unfathomable. It's so bad. I am Batman #8. I noped out on this one. I just couldn't take it. This is the most up and down comic series I've ever read in my life. There's some really high moments, but there's so many lows, it just wasn't worth it anymore. John Ridley, Kristen Duch. This is like the fourth artist I think they've had on this series. Monkey Prince #3, Gene Yang, Bernard Chang. It's going to look like $1 million. Gene Yang is actually a pretty decent writer. Of course, Batman and Robin on it, because you can't fucking sell a DC comic without Batman on it. Not even Monkey Prince. Nightwing 91, Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo. This thing has devolved into a shit show. It looks like we're getting a Nightwing Flash crossover. At least it's not. Well, I guess Nightwing's already Batman book, so there you go. Trying to save a city that's even more beyond saving than Gotham is no small task. I don't think that's what Bloodhaven is. Whatever. One Star Squadron #5, Mark Russell and Steve Lieber. I don't give Mark Russell my money, my time. Who gives a shit? Refrigerator full of heads, Rio Ewers and Tom Fowler. I'm all right. Robin's Tim Seeley, Baltimore Rivas. Look at this cover. Look how awful it is. Hideous. I think this is the end of it, right? Yes. Hideous in so many ways. Rogues #2. This is a must read in my opinion. Joshua Williamson, Leo Max. This is it's gonna be good stuff. Joshua Williamson has been on fire. $7 is a lot of fucking money for a comic book, even for Prestige Plus format, but there are so few comics at DC that are worth your money. I guess you could spend a little money here. I guess you can spend a little more every now and again, right? Gorilla Grodd, Captain Cold, sign me up. Scooby-Doo, nah. Suicide Squad 14. Dennis Hopeless Howell is on the writer now. It was Robbie Thompson, I believe. I think Robbie Williams used to sing when he was in a band when I was in England or something. Dennis Hopeless Howell is one of the worst writers in all of comic books. That's all I got to say about that. I'm sorry to my good friend Drew from Comics Elite. He loved this comic book. It's dead. Suicide Squad, Blaze #2, Cy Spurrier, Aaron Campbell. Simon Spurrier is hit and miss. This sounds like it's probably in his wheelhouse. We shall see. But I'm about done with Peacemaker too. I don't know how he turned into fucking Deadpool in Harley Quinn, but that's basically what they made him. Superman, Son of Kal, #10, Tom Taylor, Ian Darby. Henry Benix's plans are clear. Gamora's president won't stop until he has total control of what? I don't know. He's now sold his strategy to other dangerous regimes. Only Superman and his allies stand in the way of Bendix's dark vision of the world, a world where superheroes are put in their place, discredited, and even destroyed. A world where heroes are replaced by agents of those ruthless enough to seize power. The rising has begun. Man, this comic book is very bad. Task Force Z. I hate that they're wasting Eddie Barrows on Matthew Rosenberg. I had a choice to make between this and DC versus Vampires, and I think I made the right choice. I think DC versus Vampires is much better. Teen Titans Academy #14, Tim Sheridan. Unreadable. This guy is the worst. He's the drizzling shits. He's never said a cross word to anybody in his life. and I still hate him. Well, I don't hate him. You know, that's probably too powerful a word, but I still severely dislike him. Not on a personal level, but on a professional level, because he's so terrible at his craft. His comic books are so awful. He brings discredit upon himself and the entire house of Sheridan. That's what I got to say about that. Flash 7081. People should definitely be reading this one. Jeremy Adams, Fernando Passarin have been kicking ass and taking names. We got this Eclipso war that's been going on. I say read it up. This thing has been great. Drink it up, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a good comic book. Joker number 14, final issue. This comic book started out with so much promise, and it's all been squandered. I feel like the last 6 months have just been completely wasted. They've done nothing to really push forward the narrative more than a few pages here and there. And we're not even getting the Guillaume March art anymore. But you're still getting the stupid punchline backup story with James Tynion and his girlfriend. Who cares? Swamp Thing 12. This is going to be a 16-part maxi series apparently now. I really like the Future State stuff. This thing just slowed down to a crawl. I just couldn't do it. Good cover, though. Wonder Woman Evolution. This thing, I think people should read this just because of how bad it is. It's not like Newbie and the Amazon's bad, where it's really terrible, but it's not so terrible that you might, never read a comic book again. You might appreciate just how bad this comic book is. I've never seen Mike Hawthorne art look this bad. It's like they must be paying him a quarter page rate than what Marvel Comics was paying him, because he is not putting in the effort, folks. World of Krypton number 5. I love Robert Venditti. He's my favorite writer. In fact, he's going to be on the channel tomorrow for an interview. We talked for an hour. We didn't talk about World of Krypton. I don't like it. I don't know why. It just wasn't for me. And that's it, folks. Those are your DC Comics solicitations for April 2022. Not a whole lot there, but there are a few diamonds in the rough. I think Shadow War is probably going to be worth your time and money. Definitely be reading Flash. Definitely be reading Action Comics. And Batman Beyond the White Knight is the lock of the month. That is the one I can guarantee you is going to be worth your time and money. There ain't a lot worth reading at DC Comics right now. There's like 6 or 7 books that I guarantee you won't be bad.